A KSL Sports presentation. Game Night Live kicks off now. Sponsored by UCCU.
Here we go. Time for week 6 of the high school football season, and it's time for another Game Night Live. We're going to start off with one of the greatest shootouts I've ever seen at a high school level of football, football game, I should say. The 2024 version of the Orem Tigers. They are here to contend once again for a state title. Through 5 games, they have 5 wins, with 3 of those coming against 6A opponents. But on Friday, they met their match. One of the top 4A teams in the state. Orem trying to make it 6 straight against Skyview. Orem gets the ball first. And on the opening drive, it was a quick one, capped by Taden Ka'ava's 38-yard touchdown pass to Kaue Akana for the score. Just like that, it's 7-0. Now, after holding Skyview to a punt, 4 plays later, it's Feleti Iongi picking up big yardage on the run, making it look easy. This is an 86-yard touchdown, and Orem is dominating early, 14-0. Skyview needs something to keep this from getting out of hand, and they get it. Andrew Oxborough coming through with the big interception, and the Bobcats are able to capitalize. Just before the end of the quarter, Jack Clark tosses out to Zach Sparrow. He goes in for the score, cuts the lead in half after 1 quarter of play. Now, it only took 3 plays into the second quarter for Skyview to score again. Jack Clark over the top to Liam Guthrie, and this game is tied at 14. Right when Skyview gets back into the game, though, Orem starts to roll again. Ka'ava throws to an open Feleti Iongi, 36-yard touchdown, and Orem would build a 31-14 lead. Less than 20 seconds to go in the half. Skyview able to cut the lead, cut into it before the break. Clark to Guthrie again. It's 31-21. But on the ensuing kickoff, we get a Play of the Year nominee. It's Akana on the return, and just as he's going down, he pitches it off to Iongi, and Iongi is gone. Orem going into the half with a 38-21 lead. Now, for every punch the Tigers threw in this game, Skyview would eventually answer. And in the third quarter, Jack Clark would throw a pair of touchdowns in a 4-minute stretch. The second was another one to Liam Guthrie to cut the lead to 38-33. With 3 minutes left in the third, Clark throws a dime over the middle to Lincoln Ballard. And Ballard pulls away. 81-yard touchdown. Skyview now just trailing by 5, 45-40. Now, there's no doubt which way the momentum is turned when Jace Lillywhite picks this pass off and takes it back for the go-ahead touchdown. Skyview has a 48-45 lead after 3 quarters. Can't wait to see what the fourth quarter brings us. This is where we start off the fourth quarter with Iongi's 5th touchdown of the game to give Orem the lead back, 52-48. But it seemed like Jack Clark was just heating up. He's going to throw one 30 yards to the end zone. It's Guthrie again. Skyview's back on top, 54-52. This is a heavyweight bout going all 15 rounds. Orem throws the next uppercut. Ka'ava to Akana. The Tigers score. It's 59-54. Skyview's against the ropes. It's Clark making history here. His 8th touchdown pass of the game, which is tied for 3rd most in state history. It's Guthrie pulling it in. His 5th of the game, tied for 2nd most in state history, and giving them the lead. Skyview's up by 1. Orem has one last chance for a knockout punch on this field goal attempt. But the kick is off the mark. Skyview prevails 60-59. I don't know if that game can be topped all season, but I sure hope there are some other great ones delivered. Well, our Game Night Live game of the week was pretty good. It took us to Pleasant View for a Region 1 rivalry. 2 teams with identical records, 2 teams playing for first place in that region. The Davis Darts visiting the Weber Warriors, both teams with 4-1 records. In the first quarter, Davis in the bag of tricks here, a reverse to Tyson Baggett. Gets a block, takes it in for the 7-0 Davis lead. 4 seconds left in the half, Traden Bessinger finds Easton Frazier. High-scoring half. Davis leads 29-24. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Weber's trying to come back. Crew Ketchikarni to Tyson Higgs. 28-yard touchdown cuts the lead to 5. Then with less than a minute to go, Ketchikarni, another touchdown pass. That makes it a 2-point game, so Weber's going to line up for the 2-point conversion to try and tie this game. Ketchikarni drops back to pass, but it's in the turf. That's it. Davis hangs on for the 2-point win. All right, Fremont visiting Layton in Region 1. Layton's also competing for a top spot. Third quarter, Layton with a 7-0 lead. That's when Salissimoa pulls that in for the touchdown. Fremont would take the 8-7 lead with the 2-point conversion. The Silver Wolves defense held strong the rest of the way. Wouldn't you know it? What an upset there. Fremont 15-7. It's just Layton's second loss of the season. Last week, nationally ranked Lone Peak went on the road to face Coronado High School in California. That ended up in a high-scoring loss for Lone Peak, 49-35. The result of that, Lone Peak dropped 15 spots in the national rankings to number 31. But in the state of Utah, they're still dominating, and they showed us on Friday night against Pleasant Grove. Lone Peak a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. First play of the second, Milo Niumetolu to Jashawn Mayberry, a 22-yard score. Then a few minutes later, it's Samuel Wright in the game. He's going to find a hole, get some great blocks, and he puts Lone Peak up 28-0. Lone Peak would deliver the shutout over Pleasant Grove, 37-0. What about Corner Canyon? Their only loss of the season was to Lone Peak a couple weekends ago, but they still have the respect of the Max Preps rankings, ranked 18th in those national rankings. But injuries could get in the way of their progress this season, already without 5-star receiver Jerome Miles. And on Friday night, starting quarterback Helaman Kasuga left early with an injury. Would any of that cause a problem on the road against Mountain Ridge? In the second quarter, Bronson Evans under center goes deep, and he finds Drew Walcott for the early 7-0 lead. Looking pretty good for Corner Canyon. A couple possessions later, Evans to Jackson Evans. 57 yards later, Chargers are up 14-0. Mountain Ridge would make this interesting. Wyatt Bingham's pass gets tipped, but right to Titan DeYoung, and he cuts the Corner Canyon lead in half with that touchdown. Corner Canyon, though, would be able to hold off the late Mountain Ridge charge and escape with the 7-point win. The Battle of the Border, Harriman facing Riverton. Silver Wolves get on the board first. Andrew Nielsen, 45-yard toss to Dane Slack, touchdown. Riverton would have a 14-7 lead in the second quarter, but the Mustangs pull things together a bit. They get the score here from Riker Renteria, and Harriman goes on to get the win over Riverton. All right, over in Region 6, Alta and Highland. Game tied at 10 in the third. Tucker Brown setting up the screen to Nito Funua. Somehow keeps his feet, and he stumbles into the end zone. Alta's up 14 now. Highland's back to punt. Bad snap. Alta recovers on the 1-yard line, and they would punch it in. Alta, the big second half to get the win, 31-10. Morgan visiting Juan Diego. Second quarter here. Morgan's up by 14. Beck Sheffield. A shovel pass to Lincoln Gibson on the sweep, 21-0 Trojans. End of the half, Sheffield to Gibson on the screen. Gibson's going to burst ahead, diving in for the touchdown. Morgan blanks Juan Diego, 49-0. Park City on the other side of the Salt Lake Valley, visiting Stansbury. Miners on the board first, Elijah Warner. The 3-yard score, Park City's up 7-0. Then in the second quarter, Coleman Dearden takes it himself for Stansbury to tie the game up. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Stansbury's down 10-7. Carter Peterson gets the score to give the Stallions the lead. Park City will have a shot at the end of the game. Bash Bodley on the move, looking for Eli Warner. Instead, Stansbury's Gabe Blinkley with the game-sealing interception. Park City is unbeaten no more. All right, Wasatch taking on Maple Mountain. In the first quarter here, Mason Jensen finds Brooks Ross a 40-yard touchdown to give Maple Mountain the early 7-0 lead. Later in the first, the Golden Eagles faking the handoff. They pitch on the reverse to Ross. He finds the end zone, and Maple Mountain gets the win over Wasatch, 28-6. The Mountain View Bruins on the road against Uinta in Region 8. Second quarter, Bruins to the air. Hiram Stafford, great pass to Calvin Floyd. What a catch. That ties the game at 7. In the final seconds of the quarter, it's Dexton Havea with his first of 2 touchdowns to give Mountain View the lead, but it was a huge Uinta fourth quarter that got Uinta the win over the Bruins. Salem Hills and Spanish Fork, the Dons offense lives by these 3 words: run the ball. And they did just that tonight. Caden Vest with a huge night, starting with a 23-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. Then in the third, he breaks free for a 49-yard touchdown run. He finished with 3 rushing touchdowns in the game, and the Dons take down the Skyhawks 30-2. A weekend of high school football would not be complete without the magic touch of our KSL sports producers. The recap of all recaps for Week 6. It's the Game Night Live highlight reel, and it is coming up. What a weekend for high school football here in Utah. And we can't think of a better way to sum it all up than with the highlight reel treatment. Here we go.
Guthrie, and he's got a touchdown!
Game Night Live Game of the Week next week goes to Roy, where they will be hosting Woods Cross. Catch it live on the KSL Sports app and KSLSports.com.